What's going on? What's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a great day. I'm just going to leave a message in the chat box. Good stuff. Let me double check my audio. Make sure everything's coming through. Okay. It sounds like everything. Yep. Audio is working. So welcome to Dough for Degrees Community Scholarship Chat. This is a weekly thing every Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live on Dough for Degrees YouTube channel to help students and families earn scholarships to go to college and graduate debt-free. Excuse me. It's a simple conversation. You ask any questions or comments. Ask any questions. You can leave a comment that you have about scholarships in the chat box. I'll answer your questions in the order they come in, and address your comments in the order they come in. And it's just sharing my experience and sharing my advice. My name is Danielle Jeffers. I am the founder of Dough for Degrees LLC. And today I will be your host for today's community scholarship chat. Start with some updates about Dough for Degrees and what's going on. By the way, this is a 30-minute conversation. So it's 30 minutes and then you can contact me. Let me insert that link here so you can contact me with any additional questions or concerns you may have, or if you need to talk one-on-one about scholarships and graduating debt-free, you can do that. I'll drop the link to our website first, then I'll follow up with the contact link. But Dough for Degrees, so this week, I only dropped one video on the YouTube channel this week because I had some major opportunities come up, and I had to focus on those because they were very time sensitive. And so I had to shift my focus from video content and creation to products and product development this week. And so on September 13th of this month, September 13th, which is a Friday, I will be conducting a scholarship success workshop at the Virginia Statewide Neighborhood Conference in Roanoke, Virginia. And so I'm going to drop the link to that opportunity for you to come and learn about scholarships in the back or in the chat. And it's a conference. I think it's a 2 or 3 day conference, but I speak on September 13th from 1:45 to 3:15. So it's an hour and a half workshop, and you can come and learn more about how you can earn scholarships to go to college and graduate debt-free. All the registration information for the conference is on that website. I will also insert the link where you can learn about our upcoming events as I mentioned them. So if you ever wonder where Dough for Degrees is going next, this is the quickest way to find out, because I usually inform everyone of upcoming speaking engagements on the YouTube blogs, on the community scholarship chats. But other than that, I might drop a video to let you know the recap after the event has happened, or I might announce a public opportunity on the YouTube channel, but it could be short notice depending on my production schedule that week. So if you ever want to know where we're going and what's coming up next, check out this link. It's called the Upcoming and Past Events tab on our website. And so I'll be in Roanoke for a week beginning on the 12th. So I have that engagement on the 13th. And then I have another engagement at William Fleming High School. I'll be doing a scholarship essay workshop, 2-hour workshop in Roanoke as well. And that's on September 18th. And so on both opportunities, you can come and learn about how you can earn scholarships to go to college and graduate debt-free. You can also learn my scholarship journey, my college journey, learn about Dough for Degrees, and learn how to write winning scholarship essays. So those are 2 upcoming engagements. In addition to that, in October, I have another engagement on October 19th. Well, Jack and Jill of America Incorporated at the Manassas Woodbridge chapter. They're going to have me do a workshop there as well. And so I'll be speaking there. That's on October 19th. Hey, New Division, how are you? Thanks for joining. What's up, no sellout? So, as always, let's jump into it. What's up, Cab? What's up, everybody? A2 is in the building once again. 30-minute conversation about scholarships, graduating debt-free, succeeding in college, anything that you want to talk about, just drop a question or comment in the chat. Before I jump into questions and comments, I did want to share this and inform everyone. The FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, opens on October 1. Doodoo Vision, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm doing well too. Thank you for asking. Thank you for saying. But it opens on October 1st. The free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, opens on October 1st. The reason why I say that and the reason why it's so important that you submit your FAFSA is because most colleges and scholarships ask for proof of submission. And so you don't want to get caught in the last minute when you're working on the scholarship and it's like, oh, I didn't submit my FAFSA, so I don't have my student aid report or my SAR to prove that I submitted my FAFSA. When I was speaking about a month ago and someone said, well, we're a middle-class family and I have some friends who are upper class, they make a lot of money. We know we're not going to get any financial aid, so why should we submit the FAFSA? Okay, if you already know right off the bat you're not going to get any financial aid, then at least you know that for sure, and you don't have to worry about that when trying to calculate the cost of college. You know you're probably not going to receive financial aid. But you still want to submit the FAFSA anyway, because like I said, most colleges and scholarships require proof of submission. Just to show that you've done it, it also gives them evidence of your household income and your estimated family contribution, which could help or hurt you in future opportunities. So just go knock it out. What you'll need is you'll need your parents' tax information. You'll need your tax information. You'll need all factors that are counted in your household income. That includes assets. Go to FAFSA. I'll put that link in the website in the chat so everyone will have that to get the details on all of that. I don't specialize in the FAFSA. I tell everybody to go to the website. You have questions, call them and ask them. But I do want to make sure that everyone's informed of the importance of that. It opens on October 1st. Another thing I want to touch on is there are priority deadlines for the FAFSA that are determined by each state and determined by each college. So the priority deadline when I was in school for the state of Virginia was, I think it was like March. I could be wrong. But the priority deadline for my college was January 15th. And so it didn't matter if I submitted it by the state's priority deadline, which was later, and I missed my school's priority deadline. My school could say, we don't have any additional financial aid because you didn't meet the priority deadline. And so with scholarships, I tell people all the time, you want to beat the deadline. So be ahead of the game. Gather all the information you need. Create your PIN on the FAFSA website, your PIN, your parents' PIN now. And then when it opens on October 1st, you can just knock it out. I used to gather all the information I needed while I was at home for summer break when I was in school. And I just graduated debt-free from Virginia Tech in May, having earned more than $200,000 in scholarships. So this information is still fresh. I used to gather all of the information I needed for my FAFSA when I was at home on my winter or my summer break. And as soon as it opened, I would go in and start knocking it out and have it done at least 2 weeks into October. So it was just off my plate. I didn't have to worry about it. And that's another thing I want to mention, that don't procrastinate when it comes to getting money for college. You want to be proactive and be ahead of the game, because you never know if something could fall through. You can run into a hiccup. You just want to be on top of it and beat the deadline and always be ahead of the game. So that's my advice. If anyone has any questions or concerns, feel free to drop a comment in the chat box. I'll be more than happy to help you. In addition, while I wait for questions and comments to come through, I want to say this too, that 3 things you should do in September for scholarship winners. If you want to be a scholarship winner, these are 3 things you should do in September. 1, gather your materials for your FAFSA. I just talked about that. Number 2, go see your guidance counselor. Go see your guidance counselor and ask them how can they assist you in the scholarship process, especially if you're a senior. If you're a graduating senior, go see your guidance counselor sooner rather than later. And if you're a freshman in high school, a sophomore or junior, still go see them, because you want to know what they can do now to know how you need to move and navigate in the years to come. And also to let you all know, you can earn scholarships as early as middle school. So you don't have to wait until you get into high school to look for scholarships. You can earn scholarships right now. I'll actually do some research, and I apologize for the keys for me typing on my keyboard. But I want to give you all this information, and I'm going to drop a link that contains scholarships for middle school students. And so if you have any middle schoolers, if you know any middle schoolers, this could be a good place to start. So check that out. Second thing I'll say, well, the last thing, so go gather your materials for your FAFSA. That is number 1. Number 2 is to go see your guidance counselor. And number 3, have a conversation with your parents about the cost of college. This is so important. It's so important. It's a running theme within all my content on Dough for Degrees YouTube channel. Have a conversation. Sit down with your parents and talk with them about where you want to go to school. Identify how much it's going to cost you to apply to that school and how much it's going to cost you to attend that school for your first year. Ask them how much they can contribute to you going to that school. So you don't want to go throughout this year thinking in your head that, oh, my parents will be able to cover the cost of my education. I don't have any worries. And then you run into a hiccup and they're not. And you're at the last minute and now you're taking out student loans. You don't want to do that. So you want to be ahead of the game. So sit down with your parents now in September and have a conversation about how much they can afford to send you to college. Send how much they can afford to help contribute to the cost of your education for your first year. And help ask them to give you an estimate of how much they can help contribute for the entirety of your education. So just so you know, if you need help with that, feel free to join the community scholarship chats. I inserted the link where you can contact me. It's the second link in this chat. I'm also going to drop another link where it gives you more detailed instructions for calculating the cost of education for your first year of school. And so I created a series on Dough for Degrees YouTube channel called Quick Steps to Graduate Debt Free. And it will help you identify exactly how much money you need to go to college and graduate debt free. Those are 3 things every scholarship winner or wannabe scholarship winner should do in September to be prepared for their success. 3 things. Let's see. I'm still waiting for questions and comments to come through. If you have any, just feel free to drop them. I'd be more than happy to help you. We have 20 minutes to go. What I will say, one thing I do want to add is that Dough for Degrees is officially on TV. Shout out to Autonomous Assembly. We are on, is that how you say it? Because I read back the comments last week and I kept saying AINT, and I don't think that's right. I think it's AINT. But it's Autonomous Assembly, A2. I sit on the board of A2, and A2 is in the chat. So thank you all for coming to support. But AINT is an opportunity where you can come and learn about how you can do your genealogy, be productive, and communicate to inform your community of different opportunities available to them to help them be self-sufficient and successful. And so, trying to drop the link to AINT in the chat as well. But if you're not familiar with A2, A2 is a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising up American indigenous voices through genealogy. And so it's actually tracing your family tree instead of assuming or doing a swab test or anything like that. Okay. What's up, TMH? Yeah, TMH says AINT rhymes with paint. So I got it right this time. Peace, TMH. Hope everything is going well. But that is a great opportunity for you to learn about who you are and where you really come from. Because like I said in the last chat, if I would have known that I'm an American Indian when I was applying for scholarships, I would have won a lot more money. But I didn't find out until 2 months before I crossed the stage. And so at least I know. I'm glad I know now. But I could have taken advantage of the opportunities available to me in terms of college funding when I was a senior in high school, as well as going through college at Virginia Tech. Another thing I want to inform you all, as you all prepare to select the college that you will attend and narrow down your college choices, trust me, I empathize with you when you have a list of things you're trying to choose from. When you're like, I could go here, I could go there. I like this program. I like this program. I like this campus. I like this opportunity. Boom, boom, boom. It can be overwhelming. I know what it felt like. I had like 15 schools on my list during my junior year. And by the top of my senior year, I had narrowed it down to 7 or 8. But it was still up until crunch time. I don't think I picked I knew when I toured Virginia Tech in, I think it was January, it was December or January of December 2014 or January 2015. Once I stepped on the campus, I felt it. It felt right for me. But I didn't know for sure I was going there until I got my acceptance letter in March. And so if you need help narrowing down your college options and choosing a college that's best for you, we have a product on Dope for Degrees website. It's a $5 ebook. And I give you a system to help you choose the college that's best for you. And the reason why this is so important is because many students make $100,000 mistakes. They make $100,000 mistakes and they can't get that money back. And they actually end up repaying that money to someone else. What I mean by that is you choose a college because your girlfriend's going there, your boyfriend's going there, you think it's cool, or you choose it because of its notoriety or its popularity or whatever. You choose it because you think it's right for you, but you've never stepped on a campus and actually toured it. And when you get there for the first day or moving day or whatever, you're like, why did I pick this school? I don't vibe with this school. I don't like the culture of this school. This school's not for me. Well, it's too late now because you probably already paid your fees, at least for your first year. And so what do? And many students are like, oh, they panic or whatever, and they just get into it. And then you're distracted because you don't like the culture. And so you're walking around miserable every day. And then you find out you don't like your major. And so now, let's say you've completed your second year, you don't like the school, you don't like your major, and you're trying to switch. And if you switch, now you have to start all over again, and either you transfer schools or you stay at that school. And so now you have, quote unquote, wasted time because the time you put in didn't get you closer to the finish line. You got to backtrack and go back. And so those are, quote unquote, can be $100,000 mistakes. And so you want to avoid that by using systems that have already been proven to be successful to help get you close to the finish line more efficiently and effectively. And that's what that ebook does. If you haven't ever checked out my website recently, I updated. I'm working on my first book, Choose the Right College. And the reason why I'm working on that book is because I'm extending that ebook and telling more of my story and making the system more comprehensive so that students can use it. So it'll actually be a tangible paperback book. But for now, you can buy the ebook for $5. And so it's a good investment. It's only going to help you if you read it and you use it, and help you get ahead of the game. For me personally, I would have purchased that ebook when I was in middle school because I joined my local Boys and Girls Club the summer before my 6th grade year. And I started touring colleges that summer. And had I had that resources, it would have helped me narrow down and take better notes in terms of what I liked about this school and what I didn't like about that school and why I would choose one school over the other. And so it helps you make a decision for those who are indecisive and those who know what they want. It just helps you explain and articulate why it's best for you based on what you want out of your college experience. So once again, it gives you autonomy, and you get to be objective about your decision. That's another update. Let's see. We have 15 minutes left. If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop them in the chat. If at any time you have any audio or technical issues that you're experiencing, please let me know as well. I'd be more than happy to help you. Another thing I want to talk about today is scholarships in and of themselves. When you look at, TMA sent a question in. I'm going to address that first and I'll come back. He said, when choosing a school, what are some things to consider when applying for scholarships? So let's look at, that ties right into what I was getting ready to say. There are 4 different types of scholarships. There are institutional scholarships, national scholarships, regional scholarships, and local scholarships. I'm going to drop that information in the chat. Local, regional, national, institutional. Okay, those are 4 different types of scholarships. And for me, if you look at that ebook, I think there were 9 factors that I identified that help students make a decision about which college they want to go to. And for me, my number 1 factor was cost, because my goal since the beginning of my junior year of high school was to go to college and graduate debt-free. That was my goal. So what was most important to me in regards to choosing a school was the cost of the school. Is this school going to cost me $40,000 a year, which was the case for some of the out-of-state schools I was looking at? Or can I go to this school for $25K a year? Now, out-of-state schools and Ivy League schools become very competitive because what they do is you look at an in-state, Virginia Tech was, let's say, $25,000 a year. Let's say an out-of-state school was $50,000 a year. I'm looking at the sticker price and I'm saying, okay, I know that out-of-state school is out of my budget, but what can they do? What kind of resources, grants, scholarships can they offer me to help offset the cost? What out-of-state and private and institutions and nonprofit institutions typically do is they reduce the cost of attendance by giving you scholarships. They'll give you the presidential scholarship, or they give you this grant or this stuff and that, all that stuff to reduce the cost of attendance to half of what it originally was. Which means in that case, if it was originally $50,000, it now becomes $25,000. So my cost of attendance is now even with the cost of going to an in-state school. And so I'm looking at that thinking, okay, let's give you an example. I toured Temple and I toured Howard. Temple University is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Howard University is in Washington, D.C. Temple University is a public school, I believe, but it's out of state. Howard University is a private school and it's in D.C. And so they were both around $40,000 a year, whereas Virginia Tech was $25,000 a year. They both offered me supplemental grants and scholarships that brought the cost of my attendance to $25,000. And I was still applying for scholarships, but at that time, I didn't know how many scholarships I actually won. Because I didn't find out until the actual scholarship ceremony at my high school, and my financial aid award letters started coming in. That was like April. And I had to make a decision by May 1 because May 1 is National Decision Day. And so I was looking at the cost. I'm saying, okay, these are some good opportunities. But if I get scholarships and grants at Virginia Tech now, when the sticker price is $25K, let's just say I get a few grants from the school, a few grants from the state, and that brings the cost of my attendance down to, let's say, $15K. And then I still have some outside scholarships. Those outside scholarships can cover that remaining balance, and I can break even and not owe anything and not have to take out a loan. Whereas with these out-of-state and private institutions, if they've already given me all the aid they can give me and they only brought it down to half the price of what it originally was, which is now $25K, it all depends on how much aid I can win myself outside scholarships to cover the cost of that $25K. And let's say I come up short, now I have to take out a loan. And so I said it's better and it's more strategic to go to an in-state school and get as many grants as I can to offset that $25K to as low as possible and then get the rest with outside scholarships. And that's what I did. My education at Virginia Tech was just as great as an education anywhere else. And that's objective. That's what I believe. You don't have to agree with me, but I just know what I got out of my education because I applied myself beyond the classroom. Yeah, I did do well in school. I finished school with like a 3.7 GPA. I was ranked in the top 10% of my class. But the things I did outside of the classroom, building dough for degrees, going to conferences, speaking at different schools, those things are what taught me how to be a business owner under the leadership and mentorship of Thomas, who's in this chat, TMH. He taught me that. And so when you ask the question, when choosing a school, what are some things to consider when applying for scholarships, is apply for as many outside scholarships as possible. Because this is the difference between scholarships that are institutional scholarships and local, regional, and national scholarships. Institutional scholarships are tied to a particular school. And so if you decide to not go to a particular school, you lose those scholarships. That was the case for me when I chose not to go to Temple, Howard. I didn't get into Duke. Duke was the one school I got denied to. All these other schools that were on my list, when I didn't choose those schools, I lost that money. But when you get outside scholarships, the money is tied to you and it's not tied to a school. So the money followed me wherever I went, and that's why I kept applying for outside scholarships. It didn't matter if I finished at Virginia Tech or if I transferred. That money was tied to my name. It wasn't tied to the school. And so when choosing a school, what are some things to consider when applying for scholarships is keep applying for outside scholarships. Take advantage of all the resources the school has to offer. Take advantage of everything the school can offer you. But your biggest bet are those outside scholarships because the money is tied to you. TMH, I hope that helps you. I hope that answers your question. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. We have 8 minutes left, you all. So I will address what I put in the chat, 4 types of scholarships: local, regional, national, and institutional. I want to break that down a little bit by saying that you have to think of this as a pool, P-O-O-L, pool. An Olympic-sized swimming pool. Let's look at this hypothetically. An Olympic-sized swimming pool can hold more people than a kiddie pool. That's true. Let's say an Olympic-sized swimming pool can hold 1,000 people. So there are 1,000 different people in that pool. That Olympic-sized swimming pool in this scenario represents national scholarships. National scholarships. There are 1,000 people applying for this one national scholarship. They can only pick one winner. So you apply for that scholarship, you can be one. You have a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning that national scholarship. It's a bigger pool of them to choose from, a bigger pool of people for them to choose from. Now, let's say you reduce it. TMA said, awesome, thanks for the info. My pleasure, and I'm glad I could help. Let's say you reduce it another size. So we're going to a pool in your backyard. This pool is in your backyard. Hypothetically, let's say this pool can hold 500 people. That size of that pool is similar to that of an institutional and a regional scholarship. So you get 500 people applying for it, but they can only pick one. You have 1 in 500 chance of winning that scholarship. Now let's look at another pool, the kiddie pool. This is the smallest pool. Let's say 100 people can fit inside this pool. You're one of those people. This is a local scholarship. You have a 1 in 100 chance of winning that local scholarship. Your chances are higher of winning that local scholarship than they are winning that regional, institutional, or national scholarship. The reason why I won so much money my senior year of high school, 75% of the money I won when I earned over $100,000 in 5 months in scholarships by applying for more than 30 scholarships, and I won 14 of them, they were local scholarships. I was competing with my friends. I was competing with the people who went to my rival high school. I was competing with the people in the surrounding areas. I was competing with the people I knew. And what I knew about most of my friends, where they were not going to write an essay. I asked them to do the process with me. I asked them to go on a scholarship journey with me when I started my senior year of high school. And they were like, nah, it's too much work. I'm not doing it. Well, I found out by doing it, the scholarships were the best part-time paying job I've ever had. I was making $1,500 an hour at 18 years old by applying for scholarships. Literally writing essays and talking about myself and making $1,500 an hour. And I kept doing that, and I graduated from college debt-free. And so when I say you want to tackle the local scholarships and you want to dive head first, that's what you want to do. Think about it this way. People, you look at like celebrities. No, let's scratch that. You look at Martin Luther King Jr. You know he impacted a whole race of people by the work he did. But the people who he was closest to, like Ralph Abernathy and his wife and Miss Coretta Scott King and all those people who marched with him, who worked with him, who organized with him, who strategized with him, those are the people he impacted the most because he was closest to them. It's the same thing with local scholarships. You can have the biggest impact on your local community because you walk those streets, you go to that school, they see your face. And so what is important is whenever you apply for scholarships in your essays and your habits, on your transcripts and your resumes, whatever, you want to mimic the scholarship provider. So you want to have a heart of service. So make sure you're doing community service. When I started applying for scholarships my senior year of high school, at the time I had over 200 hours of community service through my Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club of Danville. I had over 200 hours of community service, and I tracked them. And I have a resource on my website that you can use to track your community service hours. So let me drop that link in the back chat. It's called a community service log, and it's free. All you have to do is go on our website, purchase this PDF. It's free, and download it. There's a community service log in there that you can use to track your community service hours. Basically, every time you do community service, you just fill it out, get someone to sign it to approve it, and you keep track of that, and you make sure you take pictures and you scan a copy or whatever you need to do to preserve that documentation so that when it's time for you to talk about your essays, you can talk about how you impacted your community because you're speaking to people who are seeking to impact their community by investing in you. And so focus on local scholarships. Those are harder to find, but they're easier to win. If you put in the time up front and you do well on the applications, you'll be set. You'll be set because most people aren't going to do it. And I'm talking about that $500 scholarship from your church. I'm talking about that $1,000 scholarship from a small business in your hometown. Those types of things those are what take you ahead of the game. And plus, you can go see them in person and introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm interested in applying for your scholarship. Thank you for making this opportunity available to our community, the students in our community. Do you have any advice that you would give for students who want to apply for it? Or I just want to come and introduce myself to say thank you in person while I'm on this journey of finding the resources I can to graduate debt free. If you know of anyone else who's offering scholarships, please send me an email here. Like you get a chance as a community member who's applying for local scholarships, and as a student, and this is one of the most important lessons I learned when I was in college, everyone loves students. Rarely do people tell students no, because they know students don't have a lot to give, but we want to learn and soak up as much as possible. Once you step outside of that realm of being a student, you're on your own, baby. You got to go get it and figure it out on your own. Not saying you won't have a support system, but the admiration, respect people have for students is totally different once you become a graduate, your employee, your employer, whatever. Like if you're not a student, you don't get it as easy. And so take advantage of that time, leverage it. I did it a lot. And if y'all have any questions or concerns, y'all know you can drop a comment on any of my videos. I'll get a notification, or you can drop a comment in the chat and join the next community scholarship chat. It is 3:29, you all. That wraps it up for today's conversation. I hope this information was helpful. Hope this information was valuable to you all. I hope you get a chance to join next Sunday and watch the content that's coming up. Once again, I mentioned I'll be in Roanoke, Virginia, speaking at the Virginia Statewide Neighborhood Conference on Friday, September 13th. The link is in this chat. And I'll also be speaking at William Fleming High School in Roanoke, Virginia on Wednesday, September 18th of this month, of this year. So come out if you can. The William Fleming event is private. The conference information for the registration, all those things, is at the link. It's VSNC. That's the abbreviation for the conference. But as always, I'm here to serve as a resource. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything that you're struggling with in regards to scholarships, college, academic success, how can Doe for Degrees help you? Don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for watching. I look forward to talking to you all soon.